Hey guys, welcome to the channel and to episode 2 of Studenting Stories, a series I make once in a while when I talk about myself, about what has happened in my life so far. Today I'm gonna talk about how I applied for college, what happened with that, and how I got into the school I am now. So if you want me to make a separate college application tips video, put that in the comments. So let's get into it. Okay, so some background about my situation personally. I am a student at UP Diliman. UP is actually I would say it's mildly a family legacy. My aunt went there and my dad went there. And yeah, it's free. So literally I go register for classes and I don't need to pay for anything. And yeah, so additional background on UP is actually I was homeschooled for a long time. Or not, I would say a long time actually. I was homeschooled from grades 3 to 6. And my dad, actually, one of his first advice of entering high school, he told me that UP looks at your entire high school grades, not just your last year. So you have to start working hard on your first year of high school and not just, leaving it to oh yeah, I'm gonna apply to colleges next year, let me do my best here, because UP looks at least 3 years of your high school grades to see if you're UP material and stuff like that. So I was working really hard ever since high school to get really good grades, to be able to, show that I'm a consistent achiever. And with all of this, I actually only applied for 3 schools. Those schools are UP, of course, Ateneo, and UST. So yeah, this is in the Philippine context, by the way, to those of you who don't really know where I'm from. Okay, so when I was applying, I had no idea what to apply for, because when I was a kid, I'd be like, wow, I want to be a nurse. And then I realized, no, med is not for me. Please, no. And then after a while, because I'm a huge food nerd, I was thinking, oh, why not go to food tech? Food tech seems fun. But I realized later on, nope, food tech is basically chem, but with food. And I'm okay with chem, but it's not really something I want to do. And then I applied for the course that I chose as, my course for everything that I applied for, which is computer science. And why did I apply for computer science? Weirdly, actually, everyone thought it was a very out of left field option for me because I'm very chatty, and computer science isn't known to be a very, chatty course. But the reason why I signed up for it is because I fell into the trap of game development is computer science. No, it's not. Every person said that since I like games, I should go into computer science, and they just let me do that, But no, if you're planning to go to, if you want games, don't go to computer science. Those are 2 completely different fields. Okay, so yeah, during the time when, I was in progress of doing that, since I am batch 2018, I took my entrance exams actually late 2017. So before I got into those tests, I was actually really pushing my parents to enroll me into a review center. So in the Philippines, there's a bunch of review centers to get you prepared for all of them. And there was one that I saw which had wow, career assessment. It had counseling type of things, and it had how many resources. And I'm like, wow, that seems cool. Because when I registered, or when I was reviewing, I had no idea what to sign up for. So I was like, oh wow, I might sign up for the one with career counseling, because I need real help, I seriously had no idea what I was gonna do. But yeah, we just took the one near my house, which is, a cheaper one, which I completely understand why my parents would get the cheaper one. And it's basically just tests and lectures. And it's really, really simple. So it didn't have those fancy, we will train you how to answer the tests quickly. It's more just based on content. So actually, even if I did get enrolled into a review program and I was the one pushing my parents to enroll me, I didn't really take it seriously. I'd rather talk to the friends that I made in my review classes. So we were just, not exactly we were just talking, but I kept talking to them while they were trying to review. And I had no idea why they were willing to put up with me at that point. But yeah, they said, they being the review center, gave us a test. A pre-test and a post-test after the program, and they said that I was just average in terms of my final test scores. The only thing I think I was above average in was English, and you can understand why I have a pretty good grade in English, because I can express myself pretty well in the language. Okay, moving on to it. When I was when the exams were coming up, I tried studying with my classmates for ASET. ASET is, the Ateneo entrance test. And they were all, gunning for it. So they were like really, really excited, but like they're scared for the test. So they kept reviewing. And it wasn't really my first choice. UP, of course. So I thought, hey, why not review with them? Since, like, what if I'm with people that I'm used to studying with, like my classmates? Wouldn't I be motivated to study? No, not at all. Because I was easily distracted because it was people I knew, so I kept talking to them and it didn't really go well. So at that point, I kind of decided to stop reviewing because I know that, like, I'm not gonna really put in the work for it. I'm not really gonna, improve myself by doing it, since I do tend to keep myself distracted during those times. So I didn't really review much. I kind of relied on stock knowledge, and you'll see why later on, or you'll see how later on. So when I was applying for Ateneo, there was a lot of stuff to pass. There was extracurriculars, which is like a form you do, and you have to fill it out with, like, what fun things did you do in high school? So because my school really values like acting, I had a bunch of acting credits that I could put. And because we had a play every year and we had to do all the production work for it, I also had a lot of prod work. So I have experience before in like costume design, being like the props head, as in making all the props for the play, and then mic trafficking also, and a lot of experience with like lights and like operating the lights, designing what the lights are gonna look like, what lights do we have on in this scene, what lights do we have on in that scene. So I did actually a lot of production work behind the scenes. And to add to that, I also played a bunch of musical instruments behind the scenes. So I learned how to play guitar from school. And then I knew how to play piano from homeschool. I think I also added ukulele, which I picked up in senior high. So there was just a bunch of musical instruments that I put on my extracurriculars as well. And that, I feel like that's one of the things that like differentiates the Ateneo like college applications. Because I've never, like for the other schools that I applied to, at least just for me, I haven't seen something that also requires me to pass my extracurriculars. But that really helped me, and I mean, yeah, you'll figure out what happened with that later on. And the next is personal essay. Yeah, for personal essay, it's usually about like what's like a notable experience you've had in your life that really changed you. And for me, I was supposed to make it about a trip that I took that my school asked me to represent them overseas in Hong Kong, and me and my partner, we won honorable mention team for the place we were in, even if we weren't really that experienced in the field. So it was a really good experience, and I tried writing about it, but the other people, or like the other delegates that were also there, also wrote about it. So I'm like, oh, that's gonna be like too common, and you're just gonna see a bunch of essays from like 8 people saying the same thing of like, wow, I was invited, wow, it's such an honor. So I thought of trying to do something different, which I think I did. I actually made mine about theater. I was always a theater kid. I talked about me joining a theater class back in homeschool and how it really influenced me as I went along, and theater is actually how I discovered my love of cosplay and making props, and it's just opened a lot of like hobbies for me and a lot of doors for me. So I really wanted to talk about it, and it was just going through like my theater experience, what I learned, and then I even got to flex the Harvard or / Hong Kong stuff. The Hong Kong stuff is actually like hosted by Harvard, so that's why I said Harvard. But yeah, it was like a really fun experience, and I got to kind of flex the skills and just like subtly hint, hey, like I could do this too. And yeah, that was like one of my biggest achievements in high school, so I'd rather like put it there. For the exam itself, my sched was the last day, Sunday afternoon, and it's like literally the last session, so the sun's setting, and then there was a time section that I was told was not supposed to be finished. Like they actually give you like not enough time to finish it and then see how far you get. Surprisingly, because I did a special technique of like pre-shading and then continuously shading. I like, it's kind of like you shade a little bit and then at the end that's when you try to shade all of them. I managed to finish it. I don't know how well I did, but I did finish it. And then there's usual college apps things, math, science, reading comprehension. there was a live essay. Like, we already submitted our personal essays, but there was a live essay, and we just given paper and it's like, go write an essay. Mine, I'm not really sure what I had like exactly, but I think mine was about like define love or something. I have no idea what it is because I didn't really pay attention to it. But yeah, it's just, you know, sitting there writing an essay, and it was super rushed because like you really have to think about what you're saying and how it matters to like you, how you're gonna make it look good, how you're gonna make it sound good, how you're gonna make it like flow cohesively. And then the reason I was applying for Ateneo is, well, it is close to my house. It's around the same distance as UP is to my house because they're, you know, right across from each other. And I wanted to be in this musical theater org that I watched from Ateneo. And honestly, personally, that's the only reason I wanted to apply. Like, I didn't even think about the institution itself. I'm just like, wow, I want to be in musical theater. Let's go. Like, that's my thought process. And I knew in my, like, even if I wanted to join musical theater, I knew that I wouldn't really go there realistically because of the tuition fee. Because it was double the tuition fee of my high school. So for the courses I applied for Ateneo, I think I applied for 4. My first choice was computer science double major with game development, of course. And then next one is just plain computer science. Third one is communication, and I forgot the 4th one. Like, honestly, I can't remember for the life of me what was the 4th choice I have for Ateneo. And then that's basically, you know, how I applied. I'll kind of summarize the results later on. Next is for USC, the USTED. So we're gonna be taking it a little bit weird here since I'm gonna reshuffle the order of events. So we're gonna talk about UST first, but that's because that's the order the results came out. Okay, so yeah, I took USTED in December since it overlapped with one of the test schedules. I think it overlapped with the UPCAT schedule, so I had to take it in December. So I also had my Sunday afternoon schedule. All of my college entrance were Sunday afternoon, and I don't remember much about it, honestly, since, you know, I just remember getting out of the car to run to the test site since it was like really traffic when I was getting there. So that was a lot of like, you know, running to the gate and really tired, like that type of thing. One of the few things I remembered actually was how dead the room felt since the sun was setting really early. It's December and the walls were just plain white, and I was like, this feels so dead. I usually finish my tests early anyway, especially when it's shading, because that's just something that like I just surprisingly do really fast. So I had a lot of time to like look around the room and I'm like, this feels so dead. So yeah, that's what I mainly remember. I just wanted to get everything over with, and I didn't really care about what I was doing, and I didn't even like, you know, review anymore, even if the last time that I reviewed was like months ago. So I just did, but like, it's not like I didn't do my best. I did my best still, but it wasn't as much pressure since it was actually my 3rd choice. And it's my 3rd choice because of traffic and flooding. Yeah, I just wanted it for a backup choice. Like, no offense to the people who go to USC, but yeah, for me personally, I just go there, or like go there, but I wanted to go there, or I applied because I thought it would just be a good backup just in case I didn't pass like either Ateneo or UP. And it was close-ish to my house, but in the opposite direction that Ateneo and UP were. And the courses I applied for first was, you know, computer science, and the next is IT or information technology. I only had 2 options for this one. And then the actual, like, you know, the excess is UPCAT. So this is the juicy part actually. So I still had the same Sunday afternoon test schedule because, you know, I was still doing, I honestly prefer the Sunday afternoons because it gives me time to like wake up. And I was taking my test in the math building in their lecture hall. I'm not sure if you know about UP, but that just means I had a lecture hall with air conditioning. Great. So my parents dropped me off at the gate, and I walked, like I had to like line up in front of the building and walk through, I think, the entire building, through the annex, climbed up 4 flights of stairs just to get to the lec hall, and we were all so tired. You could hear everyone like panting, and not a lot of people even had like big bags. They just had, you know, their food and their pencils with them. But people were getting so tired walking up those stairs. And yeah, as the other ones, I didn't review for this either. This was before I would say I got my life together and actually studied for things, because I learned how to, you know, study for things and how I personally study like later on in college. So this was literally, I had no idea what I was up for. I just went in there going like, hey, I hope I do well. So I well, you know where I'm studying right now, but let's just say I guessed around 70% of the math questions that came up on that test. The proctor was actually really shocked since my scratch paper was so empty, and the proctor was asking where I put my other scratch paper. Like, we were given, like, I think 3 sheets of scratch paper, and then I only had writing on my first one, so I decided to give them my first one, and they asked me, like, where my other ones were, and I told them it was empty. And yeah, it didn't even make it to the first half of the page, or like, it didn't make it to the half of the first page. And I did the same thing for science. I, you know, did my best guess type of thing and just, you know, shaded it in because I didn't memorize formulas for physics and for chem, since that's not what we did in high school. For a majority of our time, we actually just solved the problems when we had index cards of the formulas. So I had no idea what the formulas were. I knew how to apply them once I had them, but I had no idea, like, how to get them from thin air. Chemistry was, the only thing I could do, honestly, in chemistry is balancing. Balancing is the only thing I enjoy, and maybe, like, you know, the shell counts. Maybe that, but not completely. Other parts were like English and reading comprehension, and I'm usually better at that. I'm not great at them, but I'm better at them than I am in math and science. And yeah, I think UP is one of the few colleges that have a Filipino portion of the test, and it wasn't a really big problem for me. It might be a big problem for my classmates, but not necessarily for me, since I spoke Filipino regularly with my family, and I'm so used to, like, you know, code switching with them. And it surprised a lot of people that I know how to speak fluent Filipino because of how I speak English. But yeah, it's really integrated into my life, but my Filipino accent does come out sometimes, and I kind of hear it in these videos sometimes. I'm not sure if you guys do, but it happens. So my strategy was, if you don't know something, shade your best guess and move on. Because I feel like, you know, it's better to just answer everything, even in the right minus wrong section, or right minus 1/4 wrong, than just, you know, leave it and not have a chance to get it right. I'd rather take my chances on getting it right than just, you know, not risking it. So yeah, since I kept guessing, I finished really quickly. I don't know what the proctor must be thinking, since I was just sitting there eating jelly beans and attempting to take a nap for half the time allotted, and I didn't even have much written on my scratch paper. They must have thought I was a genius or something, or just very stupid. So the only thing I remember actually after UPCAT is that my parents took me to a steak dinner. So yeah, that was pretty good. And the reasons why I'm applying for not UPCAT, but like the reason why I took the UPCAT / applying for UP, it's pretty much part of my background, like portion at the start. But yeah, it's free. There is kind of like a legacy thing. It's through my family. My aunt went there, my dad went there, and I've been prepping for it since high school. So it would be great if, you know, it came to fruition. And then the courses I applied for, since, you know, UP is a really big system of schools, the first campus I applied for was Diliman, and the order I applied, or the order of courses that I wanted, was computer science, computer engineering, broadcast communication, and food tech. Food tech was just there because I was like, yeah, why not? Maybe if I get into food tech, I'll take food tech. And then my second campus was UP Manila, which had computer science and speech pathology. Speech pathology because that was my dad's course. And then now we get to the results part. Okay, so ASET came out first, so that's Ateneo's results. They published the list online, and I passed. Great. But I got my third choice of course, which is communication. I really wanted that game dev course, but I heard that it only took 30 students out of all the applicants, and I didn't continue on to Ateneo because they had a 10,000 peso non-refundable, like, reservation fee that we weren't really willing to pay. That's too much money to be, you know, using up on a reservation fee. So realistically, Ateneo would be like my third choice because of how much the tuition was, but like ideally it would be my second choice just because I wanted to go to that org. And then next is the USC results. I passed again, but I got my first choice course this time, which is computer science. I even got a rank of like 90 out of 948, which I don't know if it's among everyone in the program that got in or among every applicant who wanted computer science. And then something actually really interesting happened because my parents were abroad when UST was asking for the reservation fee, and I was panicking since I knew that I wasn't going to Ateneo and I needed some security because the UP results weren't out yet. So I called my parents for 2 days. They finally answered, and they answered me on the night it was due. Like, there was no chance of me reserving anymore. This was just, like, damage control in a way. And they just told me, like, I wasn't gonna reserve, and I was like, I was really worried about that. And they just went, no, you're going to UP, you can do this. And like, it felt kind of comforting, but the pressure on past me, who basically guessed, was a lot. And they only told me this year that they actually paid that reservation fee, so my panic was like, nothing. So I had nothing to worry about, but I didn't know that. And then on to the UFCAT results, which is infamous for being the last school to release results. Since it was 2018, the full list was published online. In future, I was going to say future generations, but yeah, in the following years, they actually released it. They don't release it online anymore. They just, send directly to the applicants, like portals. So yeah, people were panicking about it because it released right after our last class, but we didn't know at the time. My phone was blowing up with messages as the class was ending, and I was freaking out since I didn't want to get my stuff confiscated, but I just saw I just felt the buzzing in my pocket. But all I remember after that was trying to get out of class, staring at my own name on my phone while crying. It was like months of pent-up stress just releasing, knowing that I had somewhere to go. I passed, I saw my name there, and I'm like, finally, after all this time, I can finally relax. There was even a celebration dinner that my family held for me because I passed UP, and yeah, free tuition is a great thing. But that's not where the story ends, actually. There's a little bit more to this. So this is where it gets kinda tense. So UP sent out an email to all students who passed asking them to confirm their slot. So I remember going to the site and confirming immediately since I was so scared I was gonna miss something. A few weeks later, I checked my email again. About 3 to 4 weeks later, yeah. It had an email from UP saying, we noticed that you opened the confirmation site but did not confirm. Of course, I panic. I look at when it was sent and the due date, and I was a week late. So I start crying and running around the house at 10 p.m. I didn't even think I'd get in. I got in, and now I might lose it again. So panic went through the entire family. I was freaking out because I didn't check my email and didn't see the reminder. My parents were freaking out because now they don't know where I'm supposed to go. My sister was freaking out because I was freaking out. So through all of that, my dad offered to drive me to UP the next day to ask the registration. So it was the morning. It was a really long car ride. It was a really awkward long car ride, and I was apologizing on the way of I have no idea why this happened. It's all my fault. And to kind of make up for it, I was spouting backup plans, which colleges are still open, which I did the night before because of sheer panic. So we got to the OUR, which is the registrar of UP, and my heart was pounding, my stomach was hurting. We were walking towards the window, and my dad was the one who approached the window and asked, this is, my daughter said that she got an email from your admin saying that she didn't confirm. Can we just check if she did actually confirm her slot? I did confirm. I was on the list of confirmed applicants. But apparently, they send that email to everyone to make sure that people answer. I can't believe this. I was just there, kind of staring into space, just thinking all that crying for nothing. And I was looking all night for other schools that would take me. Where am I supposed to go? How am I gonna apply? Getting my documents ready again. And all of that to just say that I actually did my job right the first time. The only lesson that I learned from that is put an app on your phone that gives you a notification when you have important emails. Check those emails, read those emails. That's the only thing I've learned from the situation. And now, yeah, I'm in UP. I'm a very delayed UP student. It's my 4th year in the university, but I'll be graduating in 2 years. So watch the previous episode if you want to know how that went. So thanks for sticking around and hearing my ramblings. If you guys have any suggestions for topics or have any stories of your own to share, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to read through them. If you want to see a college application tips video, also tell me in the comments. If you found this video interesting, hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this from me, then hit the subscribe button and the bell to know when a new video is out. I try to upload every week, Monday nights at 8. I guess that's all for this video. Bye guys!